This delicate looking Hoya is called Hoya retusa, otherwise known as grass-leaved Hoya. And retusa just means that has a notched or rounded edge, which I think is referring to the little leaflets that you see here on this plant. Now this is a relatively new Hoya for me. I actually had a smaller one and then just got a much larger one. So this is kind of cheating. I haven't been growing it out like this, but right now I'm growing this under one of my grow lights, and then this one is pulled back a little bit further away from my southwest facing window. I'd say about 4 to 5 feet away. So it's not getting any kind of intense light, which is probably going to be better for these plants because they are native to the Himalayas in India. And this is a plant that needs a little bit more of cooler temperatures. So if you could give this a little bit more of a cooler temperature at night, it's more likely to go into bud and then bloom. And I haven't had this plant flower for me because I haven't had it that long enough, but that is what I actually know about Hoya retusa. As far as fertilizing this plant goes, again, Hoyas I try to keep on a much more regular bi-weekly to monthly basis, and giving it a more well-balanced fertilizer, whether you're going to do a synthetic or an organic fertilizer, is probably going to be just fine for these plants. But again, I think the key thing here is the temperature of just giving it a little bit of a cooler temperature, not getting it too hot, because this plant won't be able to handle it. I have not had any problems whatsoever as far as pest pressures. Generally, my Hoyas have been pretty good against pest pressures. There are, of course, sometimes thrips, but this leaf, for how thin it is, there is actually some succulency to it as well. So I'd imagine that it would be fine kind of drying out a little bit, but it is a bit thinner than some other Hoyas. So I wouldn't let it dry out too much. So if you're giving it a mix, you could probably use a little bit more of an epiphytic mix. This is using the grower's mix here, which is a little bit peatier. So that probably holds on to the water a little bit more. So you might want to water a little bit less if you're giving it a peatier mix because it'll hold on to that water a bit more, versus if you're giving it a bit more of a barky mix, like if you're giving it an orchid mix or a little bit more of a cocoa mixture, or even having a little bit more perlite. So just to keep that in mind, if you're going to be using the grower's mix like the way that I am using here, then you could actually see that this one that I took a little bit more of a cutting with has a little bit more perlite. So that's going to have a little bit better drainage. Anyway, these plants, again, this is growing under grow light, this one's growing away from my window light. I will have a better sense as to which grows best in those different areas, and I will let you know. Oh, and should I say, I got this really cute little planter from a young lady who came to one of my book talks, and it's of the Lorax tree, which I think Dr. Seuss's Lorax tree, which I think is so cute. So if you're out there, thank you so much for that. I'm already displaying the Hoya retusa in your planter pot, so thank you.